Hello, Andrew.
What up, Docs? How you doing, buddy?
Good, how are you?
Pretty good, man. I've been spending my last like 3 days, maybe 4 days on Blue Sky after we talked about it last time.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of thoughts about Blue Sky.
Okay, I'm
Yeah.
excited to hear your thoughts.
First of all, I'll say this. It's totally like a safe space for non-Trump people because I was on it for like 2 days and I was just kind of reading the news like I would on Twitter, and I was like, oh wow, like this is great. This is just the news without like trolls. Like on Twitter, all you see is people shit talking the whole time, and like I wasn't seeing that at all. And then it hit me like at the end of the second day. It was like, oh, this is so awesome. And then I was like, wait. It's awesome because I'm not seeing anything that I disagree with. I'm not seeing anything that makes me uncomfortable at all. Everything I'm seeing, I'm like, yeah. So I had to like stop and go back to Twitter for a little bit to see a bunch of stuff that I didn't agree with to make sure I was staying balanced. Um,
Okay.
Also, though, I will say like the no crap talking was awesome for like 2 days. Um, my account, I linked it. I re what do you call it? Reposted, I guess, on there. I reposted from our show account a couple of our shows, and
And what's your handle? It's Confident Andy.
confident idiot Andy. Yeah.
Confident Idiot. Okay.
So anyhow, but the no trolling lasted 2.5 days for me. What's nice is we got a new listener, I guess, through Blue Sky.
All right.
What stinks is their comment. I'm not going to pull it up and read it, but it was basically like, "What's with the backward hat in every episode? If you're bald, don't be ashamed." And I'm like, "No, Dox is bald. I'm not." Now I'm gonna
You have
have to start.
that beautiful waft of gray hair too.
I'm gonna have to start combing my hair and going
Show that
hatless
thing
again.
off.
Here, hold on. Let's see how bad this looks.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh
Okay.
yeah.
I'm gonna do this for like 5 minutes. I don't comb my hair because I wear a hat all the time, and that's like a skunk gray line going down the center there, isn't it?
Looks good. Looks good.
All
It's
right.
distinguished. You look like a
Go.
distinguished gentleman.
I'm going back to the hat. Hold on.
So you just did that for our listener.
Yeah. So to our one new listener that called me bald, not that that's an insult, but I took it as an insult. Um, But yeah, so Blue Sky, I'm digging it, but I think there's just like everything else, I think there's a total risk of going there and being like, "Ooh, this is the news. I love it." 'Cause you're never going to see anything to challenge your beliefs, and I think we need that. Like now, Twitter is too extreme the other way. I wish there was a happy middle ground. I don't think there is right now. So
Yeah. Well, I guess you just have to have both accounts and go back and forth. And
yeah, until he's Twitter until I can't anymore, and then go to Blue
it's
Sky and be
like
like, "Oh, isn't
Fox
this
News,
nice?"
MSNBC, Fox News,
Yeah.
MSNBC.
To me, Fox News and MSNBC are the same. Like they're both propaganda networks for like one for the DNC, one for the RNC. Like they're equally as bad.
Yeah.
Um, but I was going to ask you, I don't know if you've been paying attention, the LA fires. It's hysterical to me because for like 3 days, like all of America was watching the LA fires, and like every news channel, whether it was local or cable news or whatever, had people standing in the streets. And then the Trump confirmation hearing started, and I feel like as like collectively, all Americans just forgot about that, and it's like, oh, are the LA fires still? I think they're still burning, aren't they? Where are we
Yeah.
at?
Oh yeah. They're still burning. Let's pull it up.
Our attention span
Um,
lasts 3 days, and then we stop caring.
I know like Tom Segura just posted something. His old house burned down.
I heard him say that was a couple days ago, I think, but
Okay.
yeah,
Uh,
apparently a lot of movie stars, Billy Crystal, Mel Gibson, I don't know who else,
oh
a
good.
lot of
Mel
people.
Gibson. Did you see Mel Gibson on Rogan?
So I didn't watch the whole episode. I did see him saying that ivermectin cured stage 4 cancer. I'm not a
And three of his
doctor.
friends. And three of his
Yeah,
friends.
I'm not a doctor, so I don't know. I will say I saw several doctors come out afterward and say, "Hey, I'm an oncologist, and I'm telling you right now that ivermectin doesn't cure." But I'm not a doctor, so who are you going to believe? Oncologist or Mel Gibson? It's
You know, Mel
50-50.
Gibson
Yeah.
is about as reputable a source as we can get.
Dude, he was Martin Riggs in the Lethal Weapon movies. I'd put my life in that guy's hands. Um, so yeah, I've decided that I'm not going to weigh in. Like, even though it's like, hey, every oncologist is saying that's bullshit. I don't know. I'm not a doctor, so I'm choosing to believe one or the other, and I'm just not going to get into it. So I'll say this. Oh, we're gonna screen share. I'll say this: if I get cancer, I'm still going to go to an oncologist and have them treat me. I'm probably not going to go to Mel Gibson. So
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
Mel Gibson definitely don't do that. So here are the fires. Um,
I can't see your screen, so if you're sharing it, I'm not seeing it.
oh, there we go.
All right, what do we got? Okay, just
So
just a few of them. Are the ones with yellow act? Oh, that's a new fire when it has yellow around it, and it's just
yeah,
a normal fire
that's within
without
the past
yellow.
24 hours they're popping up. But that's small. That's 0.01 acres, zero point zero 0.01 acres. That might just be, I mean,
Go up to that
Palisades
Palisades.
at 14,000. They're 55% contained, which is good. Oh, that's the Palisades.
Yeah, that one's a
Palisades is
Palisades.
23,000 acres, 27% contained. This one is called the
The
Eaton
Eaton.
incident.
Okay, well,
Um, yeah,
I'll say
pretty.
that. Did you see the clip that's going viral of Bill Burr on? I think it was on Jimmy Kimmel talking about the fires.
Where he's talking about his helicopter and how he's gonna
Yeah,
get out.
but before that, he was basically he was making fun of all the people that are on Twitter sitting back on their couch going, "I think this is being mismanaged." I don't know. It was kind of I like Bill Burr because it's like everybody in unison is crapping all over like the local and state authorities in LA, and then Bill
Not
Burr's
everybody. It's just the right, just the
yeah.
conspiracy
Well,
theory right wing. Yeah.
there's nobody defending like Karen Bass, the mayor of LA, or Gavin Newsom. And then Bill Burr, of course, is the one contrarian that comes out and he's like, I think everybody's doing a pretty good job. Like, now,
Yeah.
I will say, so I'm not a Gavin Newsom fan. The governor doesn't have a lot of responsibility here. The local city authorities have the responsibility with fire departments and funding of fire departments. The
Yeah.
mayor of LA, Karen Bass, I don't know what's true with the whole, the reservoirs weren't full, this and that. I do know that there was a time where I think she was coming out of the airport, and I don't know how to say a reporter. Somebody was asking her questions with a camera in her face, and she just like ignored them and didn't answer the questions and just kind of stared out a window and just kept ignoring them. It was a bad look for her. She should have turned and said anything.
Huh.
It turns out, did you see where Elon went to I think it was the Palisades fire and was like wanted a debriefing from the fire chief of that area. Did you see this? He live streamed it and he was basically trying to get them on record saying like, yeah, we ran out of water. It's the city's mismanagement, blah, blah, blah. And
Didn't run out of water.
they basically said no to all that. And then Elon like cut the stream like after like 5 minutes. It was supposed to be a whole deal. And after he realized he wasn't going to get the answers he wants, he just turned the camera to himself and he's like, okay, well, that's it. And hung up.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, California is an arid climate.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of water. They
So,
have the ocean, and one of the big problems was wind. We talked about wind. Wind
mhm.
is a huge issue. You can't fly your helicopters. It's
All the
hard to fly
tanker,
your planes in the
yeah,
wind.
the
It's hard
tanker
to,
planes.
yeah.
There's a
And
certain wind speed where those things get grounded. They can't fly. And that first like day and a half was like 60 to 80 mile an hour winds or 60 to 90 mile an hour winds. Like you can't fly planes in that.
yeah,
Also, I don't know if you saw the fire tornadoes and stuff. Like
yeah,
water, like they were throwing water at it for like, I think they said it was like 45 hours straight. They were just throwing water at it and it was doing nothing. And then they did, from what I've seen, and I don't know if this is all true, but the hydrants in some areas did eventually run out of water, and it was because the electric companies cut the power because the power lines, if they get blown over, so they cut the power to certain areas. And I don't know if you know how water tanks work. Like I watched the whole thing on water tanks. You know when you look up on the top of a hill and there's the big city water tank?
yeah,
Like the water pressure in our house. This might not be new to you, but I just learned this a year ago. Like it's all gravity. There's no pump. Like they
yeah.
put them up high and it's gravity, and the only pump involved is the pump to get the water back up and refill it. And when they cut
Uh-huh.
the power, that pump that would go up and refill it stopped refilling it. So at that point,
Right.
they drained what was left in the water towers. So you can make an
So then
argument.
at some point they hooked that up to a generator
They
to
did.
refill it. Yeah.
They did, but at one point, some of them ran dry because they had cut the power. Now, a great
Well, that
argument.
was that would be miscommunication between the electric company. Like they should have told the
Yeah,
fire chief and said, "Hey, we're going to cut the power to this. Like you need to get a generator out here now, or we're going to
yeah.
put a generator on it."
Or they should have a standard generator on those that, like, if
Yeah.
the power goes off, it automatically kicks on somehow. I'm sure there's a way to do that.
Look at us. We're solving problems here.
I hope they learn a lot in this. Now, one thing I saw was a lot of people on the right. I think Adam Carolla was one of the people saying it, but it's like, why are these power lines not underground? They should be underground. And it's like that's a great point, but our electrical grid in America is so outdated and vulnerable to attack, and it's not just in LA, it's everywhere. And the thing that it's going to cost money to fix it. Like if you want to fix it, cool, where's this money going to come from? And that's, I mean, LA, yeah, LA could have done it had they had an unlimited budget, just like the rest of the world. So
Right.
again, I think the mayor of LA seems to have some fault in this. I don't want to say fault, but she could have responded way better, is what I'll say.
She just
She kind
didn't
of,
respond well to
yeah,
what
she
was
didn't
going
respond well at all. That's when,
on. Well, I've been thinking about this, and it's like this is such a nightmare because you see Gavin Newsom having to take time out of his day. He's trying to help
mm,
manage this fire, like help where he can, when he can. He's having to take time out of his day. Like all these people in Congress and the Senate, they're all like talking about this fire, and the right saying how bad it is, and the left saying like, no, they're doing a great job, and like one, everybody should just be focusing on the fire. Like
yeah.
I think Trump should be to blame for some
So
of it.
here's one thing I keep seeing, and it is true and kind of funny, but like when there is a school shooting or something like that, and people say, we need gun laws, what's the first thing the right says in response to that?
I don't know,
I'm going to help you out.
honestly.
It's too soon to publicize this. They're trying to turn
Oh,
this into a political thing. Let's
yeah,
take a
yeah,
minute and think about the people that were lost. You know, they're trying to get cheap political points at a time of tragedy, whatever it is. That's how they respond to that. Yet this happens and they immediately go on to the attack, and it's like, whoa, what happened to the, anyhow.
yeah.
It's hypocrisy, but I've been very on the record that both sides are hypocritical about certain things. So
Sure.
that's one with the right. We can point at lots with the left. I'm sure. I'm not going to sit here and do it, but there's both
Give me
sides
a
are
left
hypocrites.
one.
Oh man, I can't right now. I've been on Blue Sky too long. It seems like the left is fantastic from everything I'm seeing. Um,
Right?
I'll tell you this real quick. Talking about Elon and the Doge Commission, I saw something today that made me stop and think for a second. Where's Vivek?
Oh yeah. I think
Vivek Vivek is off grid. Vivek got into the whole H-1B visa and he criticized our culture and praising Zach Morris over Screech or whatever the heck it was. And he has not tweeted or heard. Nobody's heard from him since January 3rd. Which leading up to
oh.
January 3rd, Vivek was tweeting every day, all day. He was gung ho about Doge. Go ahead.
At the same time, he's been getting called out because of his like scam medical company that he built,
Yep. It
where
totally
he
seems
just
that
scammed everybody on that thing.
Seems he definitely did a what do they call it? A pump and dump
Pump
is
and
what they
dump,
call it.
yeah.
Yeah. It seems pretty clear, but I mean, I think there's a lot of people that do that, and I doubt he broke any laws. He just did something that's a shitty thing to do, and that wouldn't shock me. But I did see a report that Trump is now saying that Vivek should try to get the Senate seat that's about to open up because JD Vance had to officially resign from the Senate, and I think he just did that in the last day or two in order to be sworn in as the VP. So the governor of Ohio gets to appoint his replacement to finish out the rest of JD's term, which is
Uh,
only it's 2 more years. Okay, so the governor of Ohio is a guy named DeWine, Mike DeWine, I think. Um, he's a decent Republican. He definitely doesn't go along with a lot. He's kind of stood up to Trump in a couple different ways. It seems like Trump's about to try to pressure him to name Vivek the senator, and then have whoever does it needs to run again in 2 years for the seat. Um, first of all, I don't know if DeWine's going to do it or not, but I think that would be a blessing because in most circumstances, like Ohio isn't red, but it's gotten kind of red. Like yeah, a Democrat like Sherrod Brown was a senator there, and he just finally lost his last election. But another Democrat winning that seat seems hard to do at the moment, unless it's against Vivek. If it's against Vivek, I'm like, all right, anything could happen. We almost have a 50-50 there. I'm not saying we definitely beat him, but it could happen. So
okay. Huh.
I almost hope it's Vivek because I think he'll just be a loudmouth idiot in the Senate for the next two
Yeah.
years. So
He's definitely a loudmouth. Have you seen Trump's new presidential photo, I guess is what they call it?
yeah, I didn't think it was a good one. I thought he was going to have a full body one where he's suddenly like 180 pounds and ripped. That seems to be the ones he likes. But
It seems to be his
yeah,
MO.
yeah.
Yeah, he looks like he's holding a grudge and he's about to just nuke a couple countries.
Yeah, he goes through moods. I wonder what his moods are like throughout a day, like mood swings. Because like at the funeral, the Carter funeral, he was like laughing and joking with Obama. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. There it is.
The
And there's Vance.
I would think that they would like try to get together and make sure that they're both of their like if one of them smiling, they should both be smiling, or if they're gonna give the mean look, they should do it. But to have him looking, I think he's trying to look stoic. I'm gonna use the word stoic there, but I don't really know what to call
That's
that.
not stoic though.
It looks like he's
That's
got. It looks like he needs to poop. That's where I'm at with it. It looks like
yeah.
he's trying to poop, and then JD
Yeah.
looks like he just pooped. He was a big boy and he wiped his own bottom.
The
That's
lighting is nice. Whoever did that did a good job.
I think it's photoshopped, but yeah, at least they're wearing the same color tie.
They are wearing the same color tie. Man, that is a terrifying photo, actually.
Yeah, it's very similar to his mugshot photo, actually.
Oh, it
Yeah,
is. What's that one look like? Let's look at that. We'll do it a new tab. Let's see.
it's the same where he's kind of looking down.
Yeah, it's very similar. He just tried to recreate the mugshot.
Yep.
He just had better lighting.
Yeah, and when they're booking you into county jail, the lighting is not optimal.
That's true. Oh, is it?
You're gonna have to get slicker with your computer work there, buddy.
Yeah, I lost it. All right, well. Um,
Last time you shared your screen, when I was watching it, when I was editing, I was going up top to look at the tabs to see if you had like some adult websites open or anything. I was
yeah.
disappointed you didn't. By the
So
way,
the
hold on real quick. I have to tell you this because it cracked me up. We got a state senator here that's also a preacher, and says he's in one of the smallest like rural Southwest towns. I don't think there's that many people there, but he put forward a new bill this week. His name's Senator Dusty Devers, and it's going to outlaw pornography of any kind and make it a felony for anyone to look at or possess it, punishable by up to 10 years in prison and a $100,000 fine. So
this is upsetting you.
if I was someone who looked at those things, I would be about ready to move, is all I'm going to say. Yeah, which that's one of those where it's like, okay, so like they've already taken away the corn hub. Most of the adult sites you can't access from certain states. I guess that means if they catch you like buying DVDs off the internet, like old school style or VHSs, it's 10 years or $100,000. That's a lot of,
10 years or 100 grand.
yeah, for possessing pornography.
Pornography. Wow.
Cornography. Yeah. You got to say corn or else
Porn?
yeah,
Pornography? Yeah.
corn. Or else the
Okay.
AI picks it up and we get like,
Oh,
yeah, no
okay.
cursing. And also the
We'll
R
demonetize our $0.
yeah, dang it, we might not make money off of this. Real quick, I got something big, not big, but the main thing I want to get to at the end here, but a couple of random things that have been happening. Andrew Tate. You know who Andrew Tate is?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he suddenly has become like a darling of the right. He announced his own political party in England, and
Oh,
he is cozying up to Trump. Trump's lawyer, Alina Habba, was on. I guess Benny Johnson had Andrew Tate on and then had Alina Habba on, and she was talking about how great he is. And suddenly, like, the whole right is like, yay, Andrew Tate. And it's like, that guy's awful on so many levels.
so many levels.
Cool. Like that, if that's the Republicans are playing this whole game where it's like we're protecting women and they're passing all these anti-trans bills, anti-trans in sports, this and that. But then at the
Yeah.
same time, they're like, we love Andrew Tate, and I'm like, those things don't go together. Like you
He
can't do
spent
both of
time in
those.
jail for like trafficking women.
Yeah, he. There's many videos you can find where he talks about how he like made girls do internet corn, basically, uh, against their will. Like he talked about it openly. He kind of. There's a part of me that thinks he's playing a character. Like in wrestling, they call it being a heel. The heel is the bad guy that that the whole crowd boos, and like certain people
Oh
are
yeah.
really good at being the heel. It's like
Yeah.
he's trying to be that. Like that's his shtick.
Jake
And
Paul. Jake Paul's a good one.
yeah, I think Jake Paul's trying to be loved now, which is I hate that guy.
Oh, he
Um,
went back on that. He's trying to be loved.
I think so. Other funny thing, John Voight, Mel Gibson, and Sylvester Stallone have been named the special ambassadors to Hollywood from President Trump. So you
What
don't
does that
have
mean?
you don't have ambassadors to states or cities, but Trump has three actors that have openly come out in support of him. So he's rewarding them by calling them the special ambassadors to Hollywood. I don't think that will ever mean anything, but that's just, him trying to,
Just a title.
it's him saying thank you to them for coming out as in support of him.
Hmm.
Two more quick ones. Nancy Mace. Did you see what, you know who Nancy Mace is?
She's the one that's like going after trans bathrooms in the
Yeah.
Senate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's funny is there was a period of time where I really liked Nancy Mace, and I was like, I hope she runs for president because she was the moderate back when she first came in, and she was not anti-Trump, but she was resisting Trump and kind of calling him out. And then at a certain point, she realized that to get reelected, she needed to hop on the Trump train. So she's on full force. But her and there's a black lady I think her name's Jasmine Crockett out of Texas, like the Houston area. And she's comical to me. I'm not saying I like her, but like she's not afraid to talk some smack in like a hearing setting. And they were both talking smack. I don't know who started it, but I would honestly put money that Jasmine Crockett started it because she seems to like those moments. Like I said, I like her, but she's kind of like a Republican where she'll come out and say some wild shit at a hearing just so the clip makes it on TV that night. Like she's that type. But she
Okay.
was talking shit to Nancy Mace, and they were at one
Oh, I
point.
saw this. I saw part
Yeah.
of this.
At
Yeah.
one point, they were going back and forth, talking over each other, and finally, Nancy Mace is like, "You want to take this outside?" And I thought that was odd to say the least. But then afterward, they tried to get the chair of that committee to like censure her or strike the comment from the record. And he was like, "No, it was asked in the form of a question, and we're like, we don't know what she wanted to go outside for. She could have wanted to go outside to have a drink with her." Anyhow, I just thought that was funny. I'm not upset about
Awesome.
that. It was just comical. And then I think we should do homework on this to talk about it later, but Tulsi Gabbard has completely flipped on her whole FISA Section 702, which I don't know a
Oh
lot
yeah.
about. I'm going to tell you a little bit about what I know about it, but I know that for the past 7 years, Tulsi has been going on Rogan and everywhere else, and her main thing is FISA Section 702. And like even they made some changes to it 3 years ago. I think it was towards the end of under Trump, maybe so it was 4 or 5 years ago. And she went on Rogan after that and said, no, they took a bad bill and made it even worse with the changes they did.
Huh.
Now she's up for Senate confirmation for DNI, and there's a couple of them that said that they will not support her. Senator James Lankford from Oklahoma is one of them. He said he won't support her if she's against 702. So she has totally flipped, and now she's not even just for it, but she's talking about how great it is.
Oh. Oh.
Now here's what I know about it. I actually would say I'm glad we have it. As I hate to be one of these people, but it's like, hey, if you're not doing anything wrong, what do you care if the government's watching you? People that aren't doing anything wrong shouldn't care about that. But
Sure.
FISA Section 702 basically means without a warrant, we can tap any foreigner's phone. So overseas, can't be in America, has to be a foreigner in a different country. We can listen to their phone calls, we can read their emails, we can do whatever. Now, if they're talking to an American, that American is just named like American citizen number one or something generic like that. So they
Hmm.
can't see because they would need a warrant to figure out who the American is because that would be
Okay.
spying. I'm sure they can do it, but they
Yeah.
supposedly.
They're,
But if in the conversation, so this was a big deal back during the first Trump term, 2016. This is why Republicans used to love FISA. The reason they hate it is because the guy named Carter Page, who was one of Trump had like meetings about global stuff with this guy. It was kind of a guy that Trump just found that gave him credibility. That guy was having all kinds of interesting conversations with bad, like Russian spy type people. Okay. Um, in that situation, if someone's doing some shady shit, they can take it to a judge and say, hey, it's called unmasking. We need to unmask this American citizen number one because it
hmm.
appears they're up to some shady shit with this foreign national. They did that. They unmasked Carter Page several times. Apparently, he was talking to all kinds of people that we were spying on that we thought were spies or whatever.
Uh,
Um,
huh.
and that was one of the main things that started the Mueller investigation was Carter Page being surveilled. And he was technically part of Trump's transition team at the time, and that's why Trump says they were spying on my campaign. No, they were spying on Carter Page specifically, and he was having conversations with people that we were keeping an eye on. Anywho, she thinks that it's too easy. They shouldn't be able to, basically, her position was they shouldn't be able to ever unmask the American citizen. Doesn't matter what the conversation could be about sneaking a nuke into the United States, and she thinks
Yeah.
you shouldn't be able to unmask that American. That's an invasion
Okay.
of privacy. Now she's fully on board with Section 702. It was just interesting to see her flip. I wish because her and Rogan have gone on at length about this, and I wish Joe would have her on and like kind of press her on that and be like, "Hey, what the heck? Like nothing has changed, and
It's
suddenly
not
you're
going to
for
press
it.
anybody on anything. We've
Yeah.
we've established that, I think, at this point.
It's
He's
yeah. So anyhow, I think she was the last one that I thought might not get confirmed, and her flipping on 702. I think Trump's going to get all of them through. It's not going to be pretty. Did you see any of the Pete Hegseth confirmation hearing?
Yeah, I watched some of Hegseth and what's the other
Oh, the lady, the Attorney General, Pam Bondi.
Bondi, yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, and they just don't answer questions. It's like it makes me madder than anything. It's like somebody asks you a question and you just trail off onto something else or try and answer it in a way. No, this is a yes or no question. I'm
yeah,
going to ask you again.
they were asking him. They were like, "Hey, what do you think about when Trump said this?" And I wish I could remember what it was, but it was something that Trump said that got a lot of coverage. Like everybody heard that Trump said that, and he was just like, "I don't have any knowledge of that statement." And it was like, "Bull!" Like, how
Yeah,
do you
you're
not?
lying. You're completely
Yeah.
lying.
So
Yeah, and
I
then what did Pete Hegseth do when he kept every time that when the guy was like going through all of his like drunken rants from people, he was like,
He said
um,
it was a anonymous smear, is what he just kept
anonymous smear,
and
anonymous smear, anonymous
Senator
smear.
Mark Kelly from Arizona was like, "I'm just trying to get it true or not true. Did it happen or did it not?" And he just kept saying anonymous smear. Same
Which
with
means yes, it happened. So
yeah,
like,
same with Pam Bondi. They kept asking her. They were like, "Who won the 2020 election?" And her answer was, "President Biden is the president right now." And it's like, no, but
yeah,
who won? And it's just dumb. I
it's frustrating.
here's what I'll say about that. After like Hegseth, I saw all kinds of YouTube videos and posts on Twitter that were like, "Oh, like Pete Hegseth got destroyed and this and that." No, I'm sorry. I mean, I know if you're a Democrat watching it, you think he looked terrible. He's gonna get passed. I mean, it's not
He
gonna
looked, yeah,
affect.
he's gonna get passed, but
Yeah,
yeah, he did look terrible.
he did,
Yeah,
but I'm just
they both look terrible.
immediately after it, people were acting like, "Oh, like they lit him up." Yeah, okay, they lit him up. It's all for nothing. I was listening. Jon Stewart has a podcast called The Weekly Show because he does the Daily Show on Monday
Oh
nights, and
yeah.
he's got a weekly show, and I've been listening to it. It's pretty good. But he was talking about exhaustion fatigue, and that's totally what I think. Or sorry, not sorry, I said it wrong. Resistance exhaustion is what it's called. And it's people
Okay.
like me that I'm too tired. I don't have it in me to go 4 more years. Like I really don't. Like I can't be outraged. I told you that ahead of time.
Yeah.
Um, but his theory was that once Trump gets in and starts doing some of the stuff he's going to do, people will kind of snap out of that and get re-energized to
Okay.
be outraged. I don't know. I after the Trump did a lot of stuff the first 4 years, and every time he'd do something, it was like, oh, this is it. This is the thing that's going to bring him down, and it never even came close.
Yeah.
So if he does something dumb, I'm going to call him out on it. But there's not going to be any point during this. He could do anything, and at no point am I going to say, "Oh, this might be what finally does him in." No, nothing. Nothing is going to do him in.
So I was listening to somebody talk about how there is an option for people not to when they do like the roll call on the states because he is a convicted no, you don't think it's
What
gonna happen?
I mean, what
You're
you're
shaking your
talking
head no.
about is basically what the Republicans tried to do the last time. Is when it comes to the certification and this and that. Like, no, he's going to be the president. He's
I know, I
there's
know,
nothing that's
I know.
and that's that I don't like Democrats and I've not heard any elected Democrats say this. It's all people on Twitter and Blue Sky and whatnot. But like
Yeah, but it
that
could
right
if
there,
they do that, it could push back his like start date
if they do that,
because
I'll be
it
pissed.
would go to the Supreme Court, right?
No,
Because it is because Colorado actually like made him like convicted him of
yeah.
inciting an insurrection, right? So
Either way, the Republican states are going to vote for him. There's no way that's, I'm telling you right now, that's not going to happen. It's wishful thinking right now. And if it did happen, I'd be upset because that's the same bullshit that the Republicans tried to pull last time. And the election's over.
different, different.
No, the election's over and Trump won. That's where we're at. I mean, I'm sorry, I don't like it, but Trump won. He's going to be the president, and I don't want any shenanigans right now around. Let's have. I respect the
You want
fact.
a smooth transition of power.
I respect the fact that the Democrats right now are allowing for it and not being whiny little B words like Trump was this last time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was not a fan of that at all last time, and I'm glad Democrats are not trying to pull some crap right now. So
So we got to wait 2 years and then we can start we can start
So
impeachments.
I will say this. I think that the Democrats are going to win back the House in 2 years for sure. Um, the tariffs thing. So this was one of the main things I was going to talk about tonight. But did you see Trump announce that he's creating a new department,
The
which
X revenue service or something,
external
external
revenue
revenue
service, yeah, internal for taxes for us and external for tariffs. But first of all, let me back up. Republicans' whole thing is that they want to shrink the size of the government. They don't want to add new departments. So far, Trump's adding two. He's adding the Department of Doge and the Department of External Revenue Services.
Yeah.
So he's growing the government, which is not at all what he said he was going to do. But anyhow, and then also the whole tariff thing is the least capitalist thing ever. I mean, I was talking to a Republican the other day and I said I wasn't a fan of the tariffs, and he asked why. And I said, because I'm a capitalist. And he looked so confused. And then I explained it to him. And after I got done explaining it to him, he goes, so why does Trump want to do it? And I'm like, because Trump's not a capitalist. I don't know what to tell you. Like,
We don't
anyhow,
know what Trump is.
yeah.
Trump
So
is an oligarch. He's just he all he wants to do is make money for himself. That's all
what
he cares about.
he was very he made it very clear that this department is going to collect the money we make from other countries, which is not. It's going to come from us. Tariffs always come from us.
Yeah.
Um, if he does this, and I don't want to go down a rabbit hole with this, but if he goes through with the tariffs, which I thought for sure he wasn't, I thought this was all leverage to get trade deals going, but it seems like he is barreling straight for tariffs. Like he really thinks they're a good idea. I think he really believes that the other countries pay the tariff, which that's scary that nobody's straightening him out on that. Um, but Canada's now talking trade war. They're like, if he puts tariffs on us, we're going to put tariffs on him. We can sell our stuff. They actually said the other day, we can sell our stuff to other countries, which means China.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
And I heard that what China does is they just ship all their stuff to Taiwan and ship it from there. Like they open
So
up a new, they just
yeah, it's
route
called
it.
using a cutout country or something like that, and that's one of the reasons that Trump, because that's how China got around it last time. So that's why he's now saying tariffs, 100% tariffs on everybody, like everything coming to this country.
Oh,
That's one way to avoid it going through other countries to avoid the tariff. So
so
yeah,
bananas are going to be $7 a piece.
it's going to cause inflation worse than COVID, and there's no way around that. Like that's the point of a tariff is to raise the price of the good coming in from somewhere else so that you then buy American. The problem is a lot of the things he's going to tariff, there is no American version of, or if there is, it's very expensive because that's how much it costs
Right.
to make stuff here. So that's one of the reasons I think the Democrats are almost a shoe in at this point for the midterms is just because if he actually does the tariffs, the economy people are going to be hurting. I'm not excited about it because I'm going to be hurting. Like I'm definitely lower middle class, and good luck to all of us. Yeah,
Godspeed.
go Capitals.
Yeah. This is gonna be fun. This is
Yeah,
gonna be fun, Andy. We're gonna have a good time.
so excited. All right, so the real quick, I had so many. Everything I have tonight is like real quick things. Just a little. Trump's inauguration is on track to raise 200 million. A lot of big money donors: Amazon, Meta, which is Facebook, Goldman Sachs. What's funny is all these big corporations that are donating a lot of money to his inauguration are all under investigation for one thing or another. Elon's under investigation, so I've noticed that everybody, and I remember way back, this is a month or two ago, but I was like, hey, we all learned how to deal with Trump the first time. Everybody tried to resist and to fight him. But
Yeah.
towards the end, Emmanuel Macron in France was the first to realize, no, just kiss his ass, be his friend, and he'll do good things for you. And France kind of exploited that. And this time, all the CEOs know like Apple, Tim Cook with Apple, like all of them tried to like resist last time, and now they're not going to chance it. And they're making nice. They're going down to Mar-a-Lago and visiting him because they want him to be good to their companies.
Yeah. Did you see
So,
Zuck going? Zuck's
mhm.
been kissing his butt too.
Yep, Zuck went on Rogan to kiss his butt. So it's just kind of funny. I think I called that, but it's like, hey, if I was the head of a company, I'd be doing that. I mean, it's a responsible thing to do for your employees and your shareholders is get on Trump's good side. You got
Sure.
to kiss his ass a little bit, eat some crow. So I think that's what we have happening. And then the other thing, this is just a scary thing for me. The the Republican in me still, which I don't want to sit here and argue with you about what's good about being a Republican or why to be a Republican, but as far as national defense goes, I still align a lot with the old school Republicans. Okay, I believe that we need to stay in NATO. I believe we need to defend Ukraine. Um, Representative Mike Turner.
Those are both like Democrats agree with both of those
So
policies.
but they didn't used to. I'm just saying everything's kind of flipped. But that was a Republican thing 7 years ago, and now it's flipped, and Republicans want to bail on our alliances, and Democrats are like, no, we need to. Anyhow, it's flipped around. Mike Turner is a congressman. He was the head of the Intelligence Oversight Committee. Okay, that is a very important committee in Congress. Uh, he is pro NATO. He's pro Ukraine. He's also pro Trump. He goes on the Sunday shows and defends Trump constantly.
Huh.
But he was named again to be the head of the Intelligence Oversight Committee. And today, Mike Johnson booted him out. And by all reports, is because Trump said he wants him out of there. And
Oh,
they replaced him with a yes man for Trump. I can't remember the guy's name, but it's a standard MAGA, congressman. So now we've got Tulsi as the head of DNI, which is Director of National Intelligence. And then the only oversight of Tulsi was Mike Turner. And I had hope that Mike Turner would at least not allow any fuckery to go. Sorry, I'm cursing again, but keep things on the up and up. And no, now Mike Turner's gone, and it's Tulsi, and then a MAGA that's supposed to be keeping oversight over her. So
oh no. This
that
that's not
were like of all the little things that are happening right now, like that right there is a red flag for me. Like I don't like that at all. I
Well, it
would feel
sounds
a
like
lot.
Biden got a peace treaty going with Israel Gaza today, and then Trump's taking credit for it completely.
It's already so I have a lot of thoughts on this, but it's already collapsing, just so you know.
Oh,
If it ends up going through, I'll be shocked. When Biden announced it, it was yesterday. I was skeptical because I'm like, whoa, we're taking a victory lap and it hasn't been signed yet. Like that. So it turns out I'm gonna give Trump half credit on this, just so you know. But it turns
okay.
out this is the same deal that Biden put forward in May that both sides originally agreed to, and then Israel pulled out of it. I don't know if you remember this, but we were so close to it back in May.
Okay.
Israel at the last minute said no, they're not going to do it, and then right after that, they assassinated the guy that was doing the negotiations on the behalf of Hamas. They assassinated him while he was in Iran, in Tehran, the capital of Iran, and like staying in one of the king of Iran's, I guess, or the president of Iran, staying in one of his like bungalows, and they dropped a bomb on him and blew his ass up. So they cut off the negotiations. They kill the lead negotiator for the other side, and then like 3 weeks later, the pager attacks all happened.
Okay.
So anyhow, now we're back. This is the same exact bill. Nothing has changed. The difference is, and this is where I'll give Trump credit. Republicans keep trying to spin this like we got to get Hamas to agree to the deal. Hamas has agreed to the deal. It's Israel that we have to get to agree to it. And apparently, Trump put some severe pressure on Bibi Netanyahu to get this done, and he wanted it done now. And apparently, it was Trump, and Trump has some guy, I don't know who he is, special envoy to the Middle East that has been over there with Biden's team because Biden's team is doing a good transition. And they said, hey, we're in the middle of these negotiations. Trump, send your guy so we can kind of brief him and get him up to speed so that when we
Yeah.
step away, he knows what's going on, the right thing to do. But by a lot of accounts, it was Trump. And we all have said for a while now that Bibi Netanyahu wasn't going to let any peace deal happen until Trump came into office so that Biden wouldn't get the credit for it. And it appears that's what happened because as soon as Trump said, hey, get it done, now it's happening. The problem is there are some hardline right wingers that are further to the right than Bibi that are in the war cabinet. I don't get how their government works, but there's apparently a war cabinet
Hmm.
and they don't want to sign the deal. They're like, nope, because the deal involves releasing a lot of Palestinians. They say a lot of Palestinian terrorists. I'll bet some of them are. I'll bet there's a lot of them that aren't. I'll bet there's a lot of them that they just went in there and rounded up every male between certain ages,
Yeah.
15 and 40, is assumed to be a terrorist.
Yeah.
But they were saying it was going to get reviewed and signed on Friday, and now they're acting like it might happen on Sunday, and now there's a lot of people saying they don't want to do it. So I think we just witnessed a premature victory lap, and this is not going to get signed. I hope I'm wrong. I hope it still gets signed, but
Okay.
Israel
So
is
it's a
now acting
premature
like
victory lap by both sides, Biden
yes,
and Trump.
100%, yeah. And I
Uh,
think they both get credit. This is again the deal that Biden had back in May for them.
yeah.
Nothing has changed. What changed is that I truly believe that Netanyahu was not going to let the deal happen under Biden because he didn't want Biden to get the credit. I truly believe that.
Hmm.
Conspiracy theory. What can I say?
I
Uh,
think we're the only people in the world, the only country in the world actually supporting what Israel's doing.
No, it's untrue. There's a lot of countries supporting Israel.
Who else is
Verbally,
supporting this?
verbally. Nobody's giving them bombs. We're doing that. But every Western European country is saying the right things about backing Israel. Not
No,
everyone.
they're not. Yeah, I've heard a lot of leaders from other countries saying like Western alliance countries with Israel saying like we
They're
don't
saying
agree with what Israel's doing.
they're saying that Israel's going too far and they're not avoiding civilian targets. And that's one of the things I don't know if you saw.
It's
I'm
war
sure you
crimes.
did. Yeah, the international, what is it? I can't remember. There's some international war crime body. I can't remember what they're called.
Yeah.
But they want to charge him, and apparently Trump is going to put sanctions on them till they basically take away that charge. So
Oh my God.
anyhow, yeah. So, but I'll say this: if the deal's finally getting done, I'm just happy it's getting done. I just all day long there's been a trickle out of news where it looks like the deal might not be getting done. It's like it's heading in the wrong direction right now. There's still time for things to be salvaged, and maybe just because Biden was trying to take half credit and Trump was trying to take half credit, maybe Trump got word to them and said, "Hey, slow your roll. Wait till I get in office, then let's sign it," just so that Biden can't take any credit. So
Right.
I
I
don't
mean,
know.
hopefully Trump can do something about that. Like, he's a crazy guy. Maybe he says, Netin, like, stop it now. And
Yeah. Well, he actually somebody, and I wish I could remember who it was, but some right wing person um, tweeted something basically saying calling out Netanyahu, saying that Netanyahu was doing this and that. It was not a good tweet towards Netanyahu, and Trump retweeted it and agreed with it.
hmm,
So, I shockingly, it's the Republican candidate that is kind of saying, "Hey, we're not just going to go along with whatever you want to do, Israel," and it wasn't Kamala. I don't know if you saw there was some new polling that came out that basically very conclusively the thing that lost Kamala the election was Gaza and Israel.
oh, wow.
Yeah, because she refused to break with Biden and break with Israel. And Trump, even though even though everybody said he's just bullshitting, he was going out and meeting with Arab leaders in like Dearborn, Michigan, and all these places where they were having the whole kind of protest vote where they were saying they weren't going to vote for Kamala if she
Hmm.
supported Israel. He went there and talked to them, and he fooled them and convinced them that he was going to be really good for Palestine and for Gaza.
Yeah.
I don't know, but they bought it, and he showed up there to talk to him. Kamala wouldn't even go talk to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's it turns out that was the main thing that lost her the election was Gaza and Israel.
Wow.
Yeah. So and
Well, I mean, that makes sense. I mean,
the
yeah.
left was very upset with her for not saying that she was gonna either limit supplies of weapons to Israel or to cut them off. They wanted her to say something, and all she kept saying is "We stand with Israel." And her husband's Jewish. I
How does
mean,
Israel have such a strong hold on our country? Like, it's
APAC.
money.
Yeah, APAC, the
So
political
it's just
committee.
money.
The
Israel's
yeah,
paying us untold amounts of money
yeah,
to support whatever the hell they're doing.
yeah.
Yeah, this
If you
is
say that though, you're anti-Semite. Like it's so dangerous to even like we've talked about this before, but
it's not an anti-Semitic
here's
statement.
they've got. I don't want to get in trouble for this, but they've got it to where if you say anything criticizing Israel and what
Yeah.
Israel's doing, it immediately turns into, oh, so you have a problem with Jews? And it's like, no, 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 no. I don't have a problem with you. I have a problem with the way the government of Israel is handling this situation.
Yeah.
But you can quickly, and we're not big enough for it to happen, but if you're a national name, if you're a big podcaster and you start to go down that road, a lot of people will quickly try to paint you as an anti-Semite, and it's just dangerous. It's one of those where there's certain topics that's like I don't even want to try to talk about that because it's too easy to get lumped in with a hateful group.
Well, that's a dumb tag to
Yeah,
put on somebody who's criticizing a country who's committing a genocide and
yeah,
stealing land from another country.
yeah. I have no issue with Jewish people whatsoever. I think that they should try to stop killing as many civilians while they're trying to kill the terrorists. Like that's my one complaint. Kill the terrorists. I think Hamas. I think Hamas needs to be eliminated ASAP as quick as we can,
Yeah.
but while still trying to protect innocent people.
And
That's my whole
instead
thing
they're
on it.
raping and murdering children.
I haven't seen that they're raping the children.
Maybe they're
They're
raping
definitely
adults. They're
they're
raping
definitely
adults.
they're bombing them. I don't
There's
know
videos of them raping adults.
man, I'm glad I haven't seen those. Uh, yeah. So it's
Yeah.
yeah. Again, they are right. They are right to defend themselves, and they are right to eliminate Hamas.
And
Which
okay, so they did the pager bombs and the walkie-talkie bombs and the cell phone bombs,
Okay.
and they targeted them very well,
Yeah.
like almost too perfect, right?
There were definitely some innocent people that that got caught up in that. I will say, however, though, I still think that's an awesome plot. Like just as far as how they did that, they intercepted the shipment or they intercepted the order and they got the pagers first and blah blah blah. And very James Bond style how they did all
Yeah.
that. It's a shame that apparently there were situations where kids heard the beeper go off and went over and got it to take it to their dad or whatever and were carrying it when it exploded. That,
Ooh.
which nobody likes to hear this, but there's an acceptable civilian casualty rate with any operation. If you're going to do something, you say, hey, 3% of casualties might be civilians, and there's a threshold that
Yeah,
every government has.
they're at like 10,000%
Oh,
casualty rate.
yeah. They've far exceeded it, but I'm just saying in any operation you take into account that there might be some innocent people that die, and there's like a threshold, and if it's just a couple, but we're gonna get some really bad people, that's acceptable. Nobody likes to hear that. The government won't admit that, but that's how they look at these things. And the problem is it seems like Israel is not even taking that into account. If they are, they're doing a really bad job of it. But they look at it and say, hey, there's a school here with kids in it, but underneath that school, we're pretty dang certain that there's a Hamas command center. So
Yeah.
it's worth it to blow up the school and all the kids if we're going to get 5 senior Hamas leaders. And their calculations must be different than mine because in my mind, I'm like, well, then you don't blow up the school. If there's kids in
No.
the school and Hamas underneath, you don't do that.
I don't think Gaza has one working hospital anymore.
I doubt it. They don't
I
have a
think it
lot.
was they bombed the last hospital like a month ago.
Well, and so what's interesting is this peace deal is specifically for Gaza. And also, this peace deal is in 3 parts. And the first part is set to happen whenever they sign everything. And then there's a 6 week period, and both sides have to stick to the agreement for 6 weeks. And then phase two happens, and more people are released. And then if that goes well, phase three happens. I don't think we're ever going to get to phase two. If we get to phase one and there's an initial prisoner swap, cool. Something will happen in those 6 weeks to screw it all up. I'm damn confident of. But the West Bank, which is this all messed up, but the West Bank is on the east side of the country. Doesn't make sense, but that's where the West Bank is. And there's a whole rumor, and I'm spreading rumors here, but Miriam Adelson, her husband was Sheldon Adelson. He was a Jewish billionaire. They own the Mavericks now. That's who Mark Cuban sold the
Oh,
Mavericks to. Um,
interesting.
she donated 1 million or 2 million or so. She donated a lot of money to Trump, and it was
You got a Medal
apparently
of Freedom or something?
yeah, well, and apparently it was very much a quid pro quo
Yeah.
for letting Israel annex the West Bank. And they're slowly like they've been just moving into the West Bank and like kicking people off the new settlements. This has been happening for
It
10
has
to
nice
12.
beaches.
Yeah,
$20 says Trump puts up a golf course there.
I'm surprised he doesn't have one already. But anyhow, that's I'm kind of it's one of those whole everybody's looking at Gaza and paying attention to that, and I think we're about to see just the West Bank get erased off the map, and that's going to be part of Israel now. Could be wrong. We'll see. Keep your eye out for that. So
Yeah, that's it's always frustrating.
yeah. I don't know. I'm not optimistic. Trump. I don't. The last thing we'll end on this. Did you see where Trump is planning a campaign of shock and awe, according to several people, on day one of his presidency?
A campaign of shock and awe.
Yeah, I think that's what they're calling it. So they're going to have the inauguration, and he's going to go straight to the Oval Office, and apparently they're going to have prepared for him a stack of executive orders, and he's going to put through some wild shit on day one. And that's from sources all over. And like the first Trump presidency, I think it was the first day, maybe this it was definitely the first weekend he was president is when they tried to do the Muslim ban, and then that got challenged immediately, and it went to the courts. And then he ended up having to do like a scaled down version of the Muslim ban, and he was able to get that through. And I think several of these things are going to immediately go to the courts, and then he'll have to water them down eventually. But apparently, day one, shock and awe is the phrase they're using, and he wants to do some shit to really rile up the base.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be all stuff that sound terrible. What I want to warn everybody is that if it's one of the terrible ones, it's going to get taken to court immediately, and there's probably going to be an injunction saying that they can't do it right now. And then later there'll be some watered down version of it that's still bad but not terrible. So
Okay.
don't
Hmm.
freak out that day. The bad ones will get challenged, and most likely, I'm going to say most likely, will not be allowed to stick. It'll be
Okay.
interesting. I'm curious of what all like. I can't think what all he would want to do. The first time the Muslim ban, he had talked about that in advance. He remember during the campaign, he said, "We need a complete and total shutdown of all Muslims entering this country till we can figure out what the hell is going on." I think that's word for
Yeah,
word what he said.
yeah.
Um, I was trying to think about it today. What would be his shock and awe day one executive orders?
He's going to do deportations, and he's going to do tariffs. These are his top two issues.
So to me, that's not shocking. We know he's going to do that. If he does that on day one, I don't. That's not shocking enough.
Hmm.
They're acting like he's going to drop a bomb on us. Like, oh my God, he's going to blow our brains. Like, what did he just do?
He's going to take the Panama Canal. I don't know.
Maybe.
Parts of
I don't.
Mexico. He's going to start invading Mexico immediately.
That would be interesting. Yeah. I don't know. I'm kind of curious. I've heard that there's a lot of right wing people that are going to the inauguration this time. It is going to be bigger than the first one. Like, they're going to have some people there. Now, I'm about to hit.
Bigger, or is there going to be more people there? Like more people there?
They say more people. That's what they're saying. They're saying this is going to be a good showing. Now, what's going to hurt it is I have a cold front coming through here tomorrow evening, actually. It's blowing through, and for like 4 straight days, we're not going to get above 28 degrees or something. It's just going to be a shitty.
Yeah,
Apparently,
lucky
that
you. Lucky
apparently
you.
that's hitting DC like 2 days after me. So the day of the
Oh,
inauguration, it's supposed to be like 18 degrees with a wind chill of like 5 degrees or something.
oh,
So it'll be interesting to see. They're saying it's going to be big. It probably still will be. It's going to be miserable out there. Michelle Obama said she's not going, and the right seems very pissed about that.
yeah.
Which I'm a little concerned there because all the stuff with January 6th and Stop the Steal, and then Trump left D.C. like 2 hours before the inauguration. Didn't he? Obviously didn't show up. He was on a
Yeah.
plane on the way out of there. So Trump and Melania didn't show up for Biden, and now because Obama's wife, 2 presidents ago, is not coming, the right's acting like this is a huge insult to the presidency. I'm like, what? Seems a little hypocritical, is all I'm going to say.
How many bad things has he said about her
Oh God, about the
and
whole
her husband and her
the
husband?
whole. I'll tell you this. I get genuinely like mad when I hear people joking around about the whole Big Mike thing. I don't know if you're familiar with Big Mike.
Big Mike. Oh,
I don't even want to repeat it. I'm just gonna. There's an internet meme thing going around that Michelle Obama is really a man, and there's
oh,
pictures where you can see her Adam's apple, and there's like they show her hands, and like no, she's and I saw one just today where they were like, if anybody has a picture of Michelle Obama while she's pregnant, please post it because there's not one. Like you never will find a picture of her pregnant because she's a man. They call her Big Mike, and like yeah, if I was her, I would be like, screw these people. Like, I'm not
yeah,
going to this.
yeah.
Yeah. People, it's amazing because even like people I knew that loved Michelle Obama have fallen into like the Trump train now. And now they're like, the more I look at it, Michelle Obama's a fraud. And I'm just like, really?
A
Wow. Like,
fraud.
yeah, they have a whole thing about the Obamas and the Obamas. They
Oh,
preach
oh.
that people need to this and that, yet they live in their $1 million mansions and blah, blah, blah. Like yeah, they're
Well,
hypocrites.
remember when she came out with her like, we need to eat healthy, we need to do healthy food in schools, and the right went
Republicans,
berserk. You're gonna make
yeah.
us eat free food? This is communism. Blah blah blah. And now they got RFK trying to get us healthy, and they're like, yeah, we do need to eat healthy.
There was a clip of Hannity when she tried to do it, and Hannity, this is 12 years ago, but he was like, "I'm not going to let the government tell me that I can't eat a Big Mac and French fries." So there, and it's like how we've come full circle. The one good thing I'll say this. Let's end on a great note. Did you see the FDA officially banned red dye number 3?
Oh no, I didn't.
Yeah. I don't know. I keep hearing about the red dyes from people, and I don't know. Apparently, behavioral issues in kids and
Hmm.
possible links to cancer, like all kinds of things. Every country in Europe has not allowed red dye number 3 for like 15 or 20 years or something like that. They've had a ban, and we just decided to do it. So, red
That
dye
was
number
our
3,
FDA.
yeah, the FDA banned it. So,
And who's in charge of the FDA now?
well, Biden is now. I don't know who the administrator
Well,
is.
I mean, who's Trump's
Oh,
appointee
it's
for
gonna be
that?
it's gonna be RFK, which I'll bet RFK
Oh
would
yeah,
have done
yeah.
it anyway. Maybe they did it so that he couldn't, because I think that's one of the things. I
Uh,
think that's one of the Maha Make America Healthy Again type things is
yeah.
getting rid of the additives. That sounds like something he was gonna
That's
do.
yeah, that's
So
a good thing.
yeah,
I'm all for that.
yeah. So I still say if they would just have RFK attack the food issue in our country, I'd be all for him. The part where I'm worried about the vaccine thing, I will say this. I'm loosened up to where it's like, yeah, if you don't want to get a vaccine, don't get a vaccine. I don't care. Like I don't care. What I don't want is for RFK to start fear mongering about vaccines. Vaccines
Right.
cause autism and all this stuff, where it's like there's so many studies that prove that it doesn't.
Well, no, this
Okay.
the whole thing is if he makes it a choice, you can either have your kids vaccinated or not. Like if it's a choice and people stop vaccinating their kids, then there's going to be little outbreaks all over the country.
They're saying that polio could come back now, which is really, I'm like, oh wow, like polio? Like, but I
That
think
really
Trump,
messed some people up. Didn't Taft or somebody, wasn't he in a wheelchair because of
it was
polio?
Roosevelt. Yeah, I think
Roosevelt,
Roosevelt.
that's
Yeah.
right. Okay.
But I think Trump came out recently and said, no, the polio shot's a good one and we're going to keep that one. So I think ultimately Trump's calling the shots here. Like if he tells RFK not to touch the polio one, the polio and like measles and mumps, like that should stay. Like that seems to be good. The MMR, I think they call it.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's again, I said this earlier in this episode, but I'm not going to argue with anybody about medical stuff. If anybody comes up to me and wants to talk about ivermectin or vaccine, I'm not a doctor. I'm not going to, I know what I believe and I'm going to do what I'm going to do to my body, what I want to do. And I'm not arguing with you about your things. We're both not qualified to be arguing about this. So
Yeah. I believe in
not doing it.
science. You
Yeah.
don't. So
I'm going to
yeah.
listen to the doctor. You listen to the guy on Twitter.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm
Yeah.
not doing it. Like I'm just done. So yeah. So
That's a good comeback. I'm just gonna listen to the doctor. You
yeah.
you can listen to whatever crackpot you want.
Yep.
We'll
So
see who comes out ahead.
that's where I'm at. So you listen to the guy on Twitter. Cool. I'm all about it. So that's all I got. You got anything else for tonight, buddy?
I think that's it, man. I think I'm
Okay.
good.
All right. Well, next time we do a show, I'm gonna comb my hair and wear no hat. I might gel it
Okay.
or something. I
You
don't
should
really
wear
do
a
my.
suit too, a suit and tie.
So I think I have one suit and tie that would fit me. I hope it still fits. We'll have to find out. But yeah, for our live show, we'll do a suit and tie for our. We probably can't fly with a live with it.
I'm not bringing my suit and tie.
You should wear your suit and tie on the plane.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Yeah. So 3 weeks. What do we got here? I think it's less than 3 weeks, buddy.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Heck
Well,
yeah, man.
I'll talk to you soon. Have a good weekend. The inauguration is, hold on, let me just do a quick.
Like, subscribe, follow us on Blue Sky. Follow
Yeah.
Andy on Blue Sky.
So
Confident Idiot Andy or Confident Idiocracy.
I just realized the inauguration's on Martin Luther King Day. That's going to be fun.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh,
So Monday. So everybody look out Monday. We might have to just plan on doing a podcast Monday night after all the executive orders happen.
yeah, I'm gonna be up in the mountains, but I'll bring my camera.
Okay. What are you
Yeah,
doing in the mountains?
I'm going snowboarding.
Okay. Are you staying the night?
Yeah, I'm gonna be there. I leave. So RJ's coming into town, and
Oh,
then
heck yeah.
we're going. His old producer, their family has a house up on Beaver Creek, so we're gonna go stay up there, and yeah, be there
Nice.
from Saturday through Tuesday, I think.
Okay, well, tell RJ I miss him. Give him a big old hug for me.
Will do.
Yeah. Other than that, all right. Have a good weekend, buddy. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, brother. Later.
Later.